And here we are with a brand new pet portrait. This is a dog portrait of a yellow lab. I know yellow labs have a great reputation, and just like black labs, they're kind of, tried and true dog companions. This is Cooper, and Cooper is a dog that I actually know. So this was a little bit even extra fun than usual because, I'm very well acquainted with this dog. And I also did a companion portrait of another dog that lives with Cooper. So I don't know that they're actually brothers and sisters because Cooper is the youngest of the two. So I think there may be not necessarily the same genetics, but definitely the same breed. So as always lately, I guess, because my process has changed and evolved over the years, I start out with my Tombow Fudonosake brush pen. It is a waterproof pen and allows me to kind of use the side of the pen for darker, wider marks, as well as use the tip for more fine marks. And so I start off with the waterproof ink. I could start off with pencil and then draw over it. But for me, for whatever reason, I really enjoy starting out with the ink. Even though this isn't going to be the final pass of the ink, I will do another pass at the end after the watercolor. But I really do enjoy kind of, somewhat finessing the lines as I go along before I add the watercolor. There's kind of a really meditative aspect to it for me, just going back over the lines. You can see, I did the first pass of the lines and then I'm going over them again. And then when I move on to the watercolor, so the watercolor that I have come to really adore for my pet portraits is Handmade Mineral Pigments by Kim Gish at Wild Thorn. And she does a beautiful job of selecting her pigments and mulling her paints. And they just have this extra kind of ethereal quality to them where there's dimension and you are really able to, see and feel the minerals that are involved. And I feel like since these are pet portraits, having that extra element of nature is really a beautiful addition and another dimension to add to the piece of artwork. So this is something that is that means a lot to me to be able to add to these portraits, and it also means a lot to me to be able to support Kim in her endeavors because she does sell her watercolors at wildthorn.com. And she does periodic releases of new pigments. She's always experimenting with new color palettes and new minerals, etc. And being an independent artist myself, I really appreciate her gifts and her craft. And as I said, I really love everything about her pigments. But because they are hand-molded mineral pigments, they do have a texture, and that's something that you don't necessarily have with the synthetic pigments. And so there is a texture, and so I do find myself definitely needing to go over my lines, the ink work again, just to make sure, as you can kind of see, maybe you can't tell, that the the pigment does cross the line and kind of leave a bit of a opacity. And this is when I've decided to mask off a square on the back of the portrait and paint it with gouache. This is a metallic gouache. And then I'm going back over my lines wherever I feel drawn with my Tombow pen. Because it is a mineral pigment, I do go through these Tombow pens pretty quickly because of the texture of the minerals. And so sometimes I do end up using a fountain brush pen also with waterproof ink. But I just go ahead and finesse those lines kind of for a last pass with the ink. Again, it becomes a real meditative process for me. And once I am complete and I feel satisfied, then you get to see the final portrait of Cooper.